Taking a closer look at what's inside the box, we have the plate cover, brushed black aluminum, all the necessary hardware. Here we can see the welding work done. Taking a closer look at the LEDs. And of course, we've got stickers and the manual. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the rear seat. Don't worry about taking off the tail cowl or the seat. We don't have to do anything with the body, because with this Yoshimura kit we're going to cut the wire. Alright, the next step is we're going to take out the toolkit that comes with the bike, as it's just going to get in our way. Just got to pull off this strap. You just got to stretch it, yank it. Just two little hooks. And that will reveal where the cable is coming from. You'll see I'll pull it from underneath. You can see it moving. All we're going to do is we're going to cut right there. So we're about to cut the wire, but I've changed my mind and I decided not to cut it here. There's only a little bit of play, and it'll be hard to solder wires in here if we need to solder. So I've decided to cut it underneath the tail right here, and we'll do that right now. And there they are. I'm almost certain we can just pull this through from underneath. There we are. Now I'm going to unscrew the 4 bolts underneath the rear fender. Some call it a mud flap. It is that big. And don't be surprised to use a little bit of force. These things are pretty hard to get off. There you have it. It's mud flap. So now we're going to wire this thing up and connect it up. For some, this diagram might be difficult to understand, especially with the hardware. The steps say to connect as shown in the diagram. Well, as you can see, there are numerous lines all over the place. But if you really need to understand, what you want to do is lay out all your hardware. As you can see, you got 4 here, 4 here, and 2 here. You got your washers and your nuts, and these are for the wires. I'm assuming you put both ends of the wires in here and you crimp it. You might be able to hot melt it. You might be able to use a heat gun to shrink this, but it feels like hard plastic, and I'm not going to use this method myself. I'm going to use a hot melt and soldering gun myself. To understand how to hook this thing up, just use process of elimination. So as you can see, we have screws here, and we have a quantity of 2. So that's item number 7. So immediately you can see item number 7 is on top of the license plate. So these 2 screws are going to go simply over to number 7. We're going to set them on the top. So we need to see how to connect this thing upwards. So if we follow the pattern, number 8, we can see that the 25 millimeter, well, all we have are 16, 12, and 25. We already seen the 2 16s there, so it must be the longer ones, which you can obviously see here. So these will connect and mount the bracket upwards. As you can see, I've got the bracket set right here, so they will come from underneath and screw upwards. So looking at the plate, we'll connect it here. But as we can see, there are some raised, welded in bolts, or whatever you want to call these circular things. I don't know which direction they go yet. Obviously this can be mirrored, so we're going to find out as we do it on the fly. Obviously this sits flush, and this will expose the welded in nuts. I think what we have to do is connect in the other piece to find out how well it's going to fit. So I'm trying it with the nuts on the outside this time. I want to see how it fits. I think this might be a better fit because it gives us a little bit of clearance in between the body and this housing that holds the LEDs. So we'll mount it with those welded nuts on the outside and go from there. So we'll go ahead and connect this up right now. The next step is to connect the license plate holder bracket to the bracket that connects to the bike, and we are going to connect these two 12mm screws in like so. Now we're going to connect the bracket. Set that here. We're going to use these four 25mm screws to compare with the original size. You can see it's a pretty good fit. If not, it's an exact fit. I'm going to set this down and start it up. I'm going to run this wire through now. It's a good time. There we have it. The bracket is in. Alright, the next step is to connect the wires. These are the wires that we cut earlier. Here are the wires that come from the kit. What you need to do is you need to connect this red, well, it says it's red, but actually it looks more orange to me. You're going to connect this orange wire to the white wire. We don't have a white wire on my bike, so I'm assuming that's great. The black wire will connect to the black with white stripes. I'm assuming this is negative. So I'm going to go ahead and splice some of this, probably about a 1/4 inch on each. Make these a little bit longer as well. And I'm going to connect them up and then solder. I just thought about this now, but before you seal up the connections, you should test to make sure that they are working properly. So right now, turn on the lights, and we'll make sure the LEDs light up. So we do have tail lights, no problem, and we do have LED lights underneath. We are good to go. Okay, I've taped up the connection and zip tied it. I'm going to tuck it underneath. The toolkit should also help hold it in so it doesn't vibrate or move around. There are other things you can do to make sure it doesn't vibrate, such as zip tie it to this little plastic frame. I'm not too worried about it. It's not like I can hear it vibrating anyways. there you have it. Obviously you're going to want to put your license plate in there. We'll turn on the LEDs once more. So completely street legal, well, to some degree, and looks pretty sweet. That's it.